the woman who I'm now been married to for 36 years, Michelle, and we fall in love during the making of the movie.
Really?
Yes, and so I changed the ending. So that they get back together. They get together.
In the public eye, Rob Reiner and Michele Singer's 36-year marriage appeared unshakable, a serene, perfectly framed photograph that exuded calm and completeness. To observers, their enduring partnership symbolized a love powerful enough to weather any storm. Yet, the more pristine that image seemed, the more haunting the truth beneath it became. Sometimes, the longest silences conceal the deepest pain. In his final interview with CBS News, recorded just weeks before their deaths, Rob laid bare that hidden reality. The glossy facade of their life together crumbled to reveal hundreds of bitter arguments, sleepless nights consumed by their son Nick's addiction, and moments when divorce felt inevitable. They didn't stay together because life was easy. They endured for the sake of their children. That shared devotion became the tenuous thread holding two exhausted souls together until the very end. Then, in a cruel twist of fate, tragedy arrived. Cold, sudden, and without warning, leaving behind a love story that was as beautiful as it was heartbreaking. CBS captured Rob's final images before he passed, a frail, elderly man seated quietly under harsh studio lights, his sunken eyes hollowed by decades of silent suffering. Gone was the confident public figure. In his place sat someone utterly worn down by grief. No one on set knew this would be his last public account of his life. From the outset, Rob made it clear he wasn't promoting anything. He spoke because it was time to tell the truth, especially about my family. He described their home, outwardly radiant, often held up as a model of domestic harmony, yet inside filled with stretches of silence so heavy they ached. He confessed that during his most prolific filmmaking years, he failed to notice Michele slowly retreating into herself. "I thought silence meant peace," he said slowly, "but later I realized that silence can also be a form of abandonment." Rob often said that meeting Michele on the set of When Harry Met Sally in 1989 changed everything. At the time, he was reeling from his divorce from Penny Marshall, and the film's original script ended in melancholy, mirroring his own disillusionment with love. Then Michele appeared, visiting her friend, cinematographer Barry Sonnenfeld, and something shifted. Before her, Rob felt like only half a person. "I lived well, I made good films," he once said, but something very big was missing. Meeting Michele revealed the missing piece. "Oh, so this is what real love is," he realized, and rewrote the film's ending so Harry and Sally found each other on New Year's Eve, just as he and Michele had found one another. They married months later in a simple Hawaiian ceremony with two strangers as witnesses. "We weren't just husband and wife," Rob said. "We were truly partners. She made me a complete human being." But the cruelest irony followed. Just as their family seemed most whole, their marriage began to drift, quietly, almost imperceptibly, but steadily into unease. Rob described their parenting differences with bittersweet humor. He spoiled the kids, Michele set the rules. "That's why everything stayed balanced," he said. To him, Michele wasn't just his wife, she was his greatest muse in cinema and life. "Without Michele, I don't know who I would be," he often admitted. Yet their shared devotion to their children, Jake, born 1991, Nick, born 1993, and Romy, born 1997, would become the very force that strained their bond to the breaking point. Rob spoke with tenderness about holding his newborns, so small, so trusting. "When my child slept on my chest," he recalled, "I swore that no matter how cruel this world became, I would be their safe place." That love was quiet but profound, etched into his soul. But balance gave way to chaos when Nick, once the brightest spark in their lives, began to change at age 15. He came home late, carried strange smells, avoided eye contact. "I saw it," Rob admitted, "but I told myself it was just adolescence." Then came the constant requests for money, first for friends, then for personal matters, then with no explanation at all. Rob and Michele argued in hushed kitchen voices, terrified Nick would overhear. "Maybe we should stop," Michele pleaded. Rob refused. "He's our child. He needs us." He didn't yet grasp how the line between love and enabling was dissolving. Nick's addiction transformed their home from sanctuary to battleground. There were nights he pounded on the door, eyes red-shot, screaming in rage. Once, he shoved Rob into a wall while Michele stood trembling between them. "I no longer saw my child. I only saw a stranger wearing his face." When asked why he never called the police, Rob lowered his head. "Because I'm a father, and because I was afraid. Afraid of a criminal record, afraid of the media vilifying his son. Most of all, afraid to admit his love wasn't enough to save him." Even after violent episodes, Rob would still open the door when Nick returned asking for money. "I knew I was being used," he confessed, "but if I refused, I'd lose him forever." He called it betrayal, but a betrayal that shattered a parent's heart. Our child betrayed us, but we also betrayed ourselves because we didn't have the courage to say stop. Their marriage began to fracture, not from lack of love, but from too much of it, pulled in opposing directions. Michele demanded boundaries, accountability, truth. Rob clung to proximity at any cost. "You're protecting your sense of being a father, not your child," she once challenged him in a midnight kitchen standoff. "You don't understand," he replied softly. "If I let go, I'll lose him." That single sentence widened the chasm between them. After one violent incident, Michele, shaking with despair, reached for the phone. "I'm calling the police. I can't live like this anymore." Rob stepped in front of her, voice breaking. "Don't, please. He's our child." She wept, not from fear, but exhaustion. "You're choosing him and leaving me behind." The words hung in the air. Rob couldn't deny them. "I love you, but I also love our child. I don't know how not to lose you both." Divorce papers were nearly signed. Suitcases appeared and were shoved back. "We didn't fight over money or fame. We fought over the children we brought into this world." Their other children, Jake and Romy, carried quieter burdens. Jake, raised in comfort, never developed motivation, constantly deferring adulthood with excuses. Rob kept handing him money, telling himself he'll grow up eventually. Romy knew exactly what she wanted and expected it delivered. First came requests for allowance, then rent, then unrepaid advances. When she demanded a house next to theirs in Brentwood, private, luxurious, requiring no lifestyle changes, Rob and Michele argued for nights. "Are we helping her or harming her?" Michele asked. Rob had no answer, only the terror of disappointing his daughter. They bought the house. One signature, a fortune spent, and a hollowness spread in Rob's chest. Family dinners grew silent. "I looked at my children," he said, "and wondered if they ever felt ashamed for not standing on their own." What wounded him most wasn't the money, it was Michele's eyes. She didn't blame him, she just smiled less. "We're running out," she once said, leaving it unclear whether she meant money or trust. Rob understood, but by then, turning back felt impossible. "I was afraid of losing my children," he admitted, "so I let myself get lost." When asked if he regretted his choices, Rob fell silent, then nodded. "I regret thinking there was still plenty of time. Families don't fall apart because of one great tragedy, but because of thousands of small moments we let slip by." Then, turning straight to the camera as if speaking to Michele, he whispered, "If you're watching, I want you to know that I understand now. I just understood a little too late." The studio felt utterly still. That silence outweighed any soundtrack. After Rob's death, CBS rebroadcast the interview unedited as a memorial. No narration, just his fragile image and a simple caption: "A storyteller, a husband, a father." In an unaired behind-the-scenes moment, Rob asked the interviewer, "Do you think my family will be happy?" The man replied gently, "Happiness will come soon." Rob closed his eyes and nodded, as if at last a weight had lifted. The public was stunned. Viewers paused the video just to breathe, not because Rob's words were dramatic, but because they were devastatingly real. The Reiners, long seen as Hollywood's ideal family, had been living in fear, silence, and despair. The media called it a belated confession, but audiences felt it as a cry for help that came too late. Then, on December 14, 2025, just 1 month after the interview, Rob and Michele were found dead in their Brentwood home, stabbed multiple times. Their son Nick, the child Rob had shielded from consequences for decades, was arrested and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. The horror wasn't just the violence, it was the years that led to it. Every plea Rob made in the interview now echoed as prophecy. "I was just afraid of losing my child." In the end, he lost everything: his wife, his family, his life, sacrificed to a love that never learned boundaries. The story ceased to be scandal. It became a modern tragedy. Love without limits, silence mistaken for peace, protection that enabled destruction. The Reiners' legacy is no longer about films or fame. It's a warning etched in blood and grief. Michele Singer, born March 3, 1955 in New York City, was far more than Rob's wife. A daughter of a Holocaust survivor, she carried her mother's trauma into a lifelong fight for justice. A gifted photographer, she shot the cover of The Art of the Deal, a job she later regretted. She moved in quiet observation, capturing truths others missed. She co-founded Reiner Light, produced Emmy-nominated documentaries, and co-chaired Castle Rock Entertainment. With Rob, she fought for marriage equality, early childhood education, and criminal justice reform. "Michele is the driving force behind everything we do," Rob once said. She was his flame, his compass, his completion. Their love story began in chance and hope, but ended in shared devastation. Now, their final truth asks us all, how much protection becomes indulgence? When does silence become complicity? And can love, untempered by boundaries, become the very thing that destroys the ones it seeks to save? These questions aren't just for the Reiners, they're for every home where pain hides behind closed doors. If this story touches something in you, speak it, share it. Let no family suffer in silence again.